guys. Come on.
Okie dokie. So, lab two. Question 1A. When the price of olive oil goes up, then the demand for corn oil will also go up. Question 1B. When the price of petroleum goes up, then the demand for natural gas increases, the demand for coal will increase, and the demand for solar power will increase. Question 2A. If everyone thinks that the price of tomatoes will go up next week, then the demand for tomatoes will increase as people buy more tomatoes as they try to beat the price rise. Question 2B. If everyone thinks that the price of gasoline will go up next week, then the demand for gasoline will increase, mostly because owners of the gas stations will want to try and fill up their storage before the price increase. Question 3. Along a supply curve, if the price of oil falls, then the quantity of oil supplied will decrease because the high-cost producers will stop producing.
For question 4, the pharmaceutical business would only take these measures if they thought that the drug was going to be sold at a high price, because it means they are more likely to make back all the money they had invested into the highly skilled workers, and the risks taken from the experimental research methods would be more worth it. For question 5A, this is the table we've made according to the results from the graph. For 5B, the suppliers will be willing to supply 25 million barrels per day for a price of $15. And for 5C, the lowest price would be $12. For question 6, this is the graph we've made according to the results from the light bulb suppliers in Springfield. For a price of $1 per light bulb, they would make a total of 15 light bulbs. $5 would end up with a total of 22 light bulbs, $7, 40 light bulbs, and the price of $10 would give a total of 55 light bulbs.
So for question 7, it asks to calculate the total producer surplus if the price of oil is $50 per barrel. So the producer surplus is the area over the curve and under the current price. So you multiply 45 times 60 million times 1/2, and you get $1,350,000,000. For question 8, it asks what happens to the supply curve if the government decides to tax sugar producers with a $5 tax per 100-pound bag. This would increase the supply curve by $5. So for 100,000, it would cost $35. For 15,000, it would cost $55, and for 20,000, it would cost $75. For question 9, it asks, does the opportunity cost of producing wheat rise or fall? It would rise since soybeans have now become more profitable. For question B, it asks, does this shift the supply curve for wheat, or is it a movement along a fixed curve? So this would shift the supply curve because the demand stays the same, but now the supply has changed, so that there would be a new supply curve.
Okay, so Neilhart's enjoys a consumer surplus of 2,200 because this is the difference between what he or she was willing to pay and what he or she actually pays, which was $800. So for B, the total consumer surplus is 252,000, as this is the sum of all the consumer surplus that the market enjoys, and the total consumer surplus can be read as the total area underneath the demand curve. And then for C, Newhart can be noted as point X on the graph, as this is the point where the price of the LED TV is 3,000, and 3,000 is the initial price that Newhart is willing to trade the good. Now for question 11, Jessica is experiencing a producer surplus of 73,000, as this is the difference between what she is willing to work for and what she actually earns as the producer of labor. And lastly, Brian enjoys a consumer surplus of 99,990, as this is the difference between what he is willing to pay, which is $100,000, and what he actually pays, which is $10. So if you using the sales tax on what he actually paid, which is $10, you have 5% sales tax on $10, which comes up to 50 cents. And then for C, if he was taxed on what he actually intended on paying, what he was willing to pay, it would have been 5% of $100,000, which comes up to $5,000. So this has been our presentation for Lab 2. Thank you for listening.